Hi there guys, I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech and this is a long-term review of the iQOO Z7 5G. Before we get started, here's the pricing information. This phone starts at 19,000 rupees for the 6GB variant and 20,000 rupees for 8GB variant. Both phones come with 128GB of storage. By the way, I've already posted the unboxing video, so do check that out for a closer look, initial impressions and the physical overview. Now with that said, I'll start off the review with the design and build. Now this is how the phone looks on the back and this is how the phone looks on the front. Honestly speaking, this phone actually comes with a slightly smaller 6.38-inch display, which makes the overall form factor of the phone slightly smaller than other bigger phones with bigger displays. So it's definitely a plus point, especially for people who are looking for a slightly smaller phone. Besides that, this phone also comes with a pretty boxy design with completely flat sides, which is something personally I like, and this phone also comes with IP54 water and dust resistance, which can be considered like a premium feature. Overall design and build of this phone is top notch, and that IP rating is just the cherry on the top, which many people really appreciate. In the hardware department, this phone comes with all the basic sensors that you can expect. As for the proximity sensor issue going on in the internet, well, I'm not sure if it's there or not, but on calls, proximity sensor does work as it's supposed to be. Or at least the display just turns off whenever you place it close to your ear. So that particular feature is working without any issues. Overall, it's not something to worry too much about. Next, this phone also has dual SIM support. Here's a SIM card tray. We got a nano SIM slot along with a hybrid SD card slot. For a normal user, it's definitely more than sufficient. Besides that, this phone comes with an in-display fingerprint scanner, which also works really well. And we also have the face unlock feature, which once again works really well in good lighting conditions and even in low lighting conditions. And by the way, I have also tested all the sensors, especially the auto brightness sensor, which works really well. And as it's an AMOLED display, sunlight legibility is actually pretty good. Next, when it comes to the display, this phone has a 6.38-inch AMOLED display with Full HD Plus resolution, with wideband L1 support, HDR10 Plus support, and has a peak brightness of 1300 nits. It also has 90Hz screen refresh rate, which makes playing games or even regular usage like scrolling through the web pages makes pretty fun and pretty smooth. And as you can expect with an AMOLED display, sunlight legibility is pretty good. Obviously colors look slightly saturated and much more pleasing, and the phone is pretty great for media consumption. Whether it's watching videos or playing games, display definitely looks pretty amazing. Next, when it comes to cameras, this phone has just a dual camera setup on the rear with a 64MP primary camera with optical image stabilization. It has a Samsung GW3 sensor. For selfies, we get a 16MP camera. Now these are some sample shots. This phone definitely does a pretty good job. Cameras are pretty good on this phone. Not the best in all the segments, but for the price, it definitely has a pretty good rear camera and the selfies also look pretty good. As for video recording, once again we have hybrid image stabilization for the rear camera, which uses both OIS and EIS. Here's the sample footage. Overall, cameras on this phone are pretty good for the price. I won't say they are the best in the segment, but they are pretty well balanced with all of the aspects of the phone. Now when it comes to performance, this phone sports a Dimensity 920 processor with Mali G68 MC4 GPU, and the performance is actually pretty good. In fact, this is one of the best phones in terms of performance under 20,000 rupees. And especially for gamers, you also have some extra features like motion control and super touch control, which can further improve your overall gaming experience. So for gamers, I would definitely recommend this phone under 20,000 rupees. And for a normal user, performance is definitely top notch. For normal usage like attending calls or browsing through the web, I didn't notice any issues. Everything was pretty smooth. Memory management was also pretty decent. By the way, these are the benchmark scores. Now when it comes to the software department, this phone is running FunTouch OS 13 based on Android 13 with March security patch as of now, which is actually pretty good. And this phone will also receive 2 years of Android updates and 3 years of security updates, which is once again pretty good as this is a newly launched phone. With that said, overall user interface is actually pretty similar to other iQOO and Vivo phones. We got the app drawer. It does come with some bloatware which you can uninstall later. It does show you app recommendations when you install applications or even in notifications, but you can dismiss them. It can be a bit annoying, but it's definitely not a major issue. At least once you're done installing all the regular applications that you use, you won't see those app recommendations anytime. So it's definitely not a major issue. With that said, you also get lots of customization options, whether it's the gestures, screen off gestures or features like always on display. which all work really good. Personally, I like the gestures on this phone, whether it's the 3-finger screenshot or the 3-finger gesture for opening split screen mode. Once you get used to these gestures, it can get pretty addictive. Next, when it comes to the audio department, once again everything is pretty good. This phone also has an audio jack, which is something many people might desire, and the audio experience over headset is also pretty good. Besides that, this phone has just a single speaker and there's no Dolby Atmos or any other sound enhancement. Speaker quality is pretty good and it's pretty loud enough for ringtones, alarms, and even for media consumption. Here's a quick audio reference. Well, I do wish it has dual speakers, but this is what we got, and so far it's okay. Now finally, when it comes to the battery department, this phone has a 4500 mAh battery and also comes with a 44 watt flash charger inside the box. Now you can charge this phone from 0 to 50% in just 25 minutes, and you can completely charge this phone from 0 to 100% in about 1 hour. Using this fast charger obviously makes the phone slightly warmer, but you also have the option to disable fast charging, which can manage that. Overall, charging speeds on this phone are definitely pretty good. As for battery life, on average I got about 6 to 7 hours of screen on time in my 1 week of usage, and that's with me gaming Call of Duty and doing a lot of browsing and using social media apps as well. So battery life is also pretty good, and by the way, some phones do come with 5000 mAh battery, but they also have bigger screens, while this phone has a smaller screen. So you can consider the battery of this phone with a 5000 mAh phone, which is pretty similar. In fact, this phone has better battery life than other phones with bigger displays and slightly bigger battery. So guys, to conclude, iQOO Z7 is definitely a very well balanced phone with all the popular features that you can ask for under 20,000 rupees. As for the pros, it has a pretty good build, pretty good display, great performance, great battery and decent cameras. As for the cons, I would say this phone lacks a wide-angle camera. That might be something many people might miss out on this phone. And the next thing would probably be the proximity sensor, which personally I don't think it's a major issue. And the last con is that this phone has just a single speaker. With all that said, this phone is definitely a very well balanced phone and a great value for money. It's a great choice for normal users and especially for teenagers or for gamers. So guys, what do you think about this phone? Do let me know by commenting below this video. And if you're planning to buy this phone, use the link in the description. It always helps the channel. With that said, this is Nikhil signing off. Have a nice day.